So welcome again, Stephen here. So behind me today I have the icon, this two-dimensional, flat, perspective looking out icon that we use in the Orthodox Church, and that I've been positing has a more holy meaning to it than the higher dimensional reality we live in. And that it's in some way providing us with things that we can't do for ourselves in our higher dimensionality, in our incarnated state. So anyway, that's an icon of the holy protection, and Mary has woven a shroud that she can cover you and protect you from harm. Below her is Romanos the hymnographer, Romanos the melodist, and I believe he has created a song that describes this action of Mary in protecting you. So, as I've been discussing this idea of we're living in a higher dimensional state than the state of the holy state, the heaven or of God, and that the shroud of Mary, this veil of holy protection, is a two-dimensional veil, and yet it has powers to create a reality of protection in our higher dimensional reality. And so reinforcing this idea that the simplicity of God implies a lower dimensional state. And that plays well with physics, with physical theories, as I described in the first 3 videos. And so it's another way in which the physics and the theology seem to be intersecting with each other in interesting ways. So we're developing a theology that's compatible with this holographic reality generation idea that is a fairly strong theory now in I guess you'd call it quantum physics or quantum mathematical physics, something like that. And so that continues to grow. I think the more I think about this. And during the Pascha week, I've only been in the church for 17 months and only been baptized for 5 months, so I'm new. But during the Pascha I was 10 months in as a catechumen or 7 months in, 10 months in as a catechumen when the Pascha week happened. And during that week, there's evening services on Wednesday and Friday. They're called pre-sanctified services, and they're very powerful. And what's going on in that service, I think that's the most powerful thing, is that you're being asked to create a garment, to create a cloth, to create a garment that you'll wear, and create it from a holy perspective. Create a holy garment. Create a garment that's worthy of the acceptance of God. You're being asked to create this during your life. The idea of becoming the likeness of God. We're given the image. We're given the image from the Holy Spirit during baptism, but it's our job during our lives to turn that sort of outline into a likeness. Sort of this like a fill in the colors painting. You start with this outline, this image of baptism, and then during your life you do the works you do or the prayers you give or whatnot. If they're done in holiness, in a perspective of what this holiness, then we end up being in likeness. So we're to create another way of thinking it instead of and that's an interesting one, to think of that as a painting, because there we're back to the two-dimensional icon. idea. But we're asked during these pre-sanctified liturgies to construct our garment and to be mindful of that and to think of it as a garment that you'll wear. And that two-dimensional garment that you create will transform you into a more acceptable state towards God. And this idea that of lower dimensionality, God existing in a lower dimensionality, the expanding sphere of the universe that's creating the holographic reality inside. That in our life we're trying to use to create our own two-dimensional surface in order to become more like God and to become uncreated. So that's the cool thing too, is that the two-dimensionality is an uncreatedness, and the higher dimensionality that we live in is createdness. And you can even just think of it. I mean, you're looking at a screen and you feel the power of the images on the screen, but the screen is just a two-dimensional object, and you're using your mind to transform that two-dimensional into a higher dimensional reality. And we think of that a book 100 years ago or 200 years would have been that transformational thing that you would read the book and you would be able to transform that two-dimensional, one color page or two color page into your four-dimensional or into your higher dimensional reality. You can see yourself in the reality from that. And I think that's the same thing that when we look at these screens, we feel the power of these screens, and the power of these screens is that the screens are literally projecting reality, projecting a higher dimensional reality that we live in our brain, where our mind is interpreting that projection as almost sort of a hologram, right? So we're in this screen world, and we're worried about the power of AI in this screen world, and that would lend support to the idea that we should be worried because it's basically taking this lower dimensional space and projecting, literally creating the higher dimensional reality. So and if the universe is like that, and if the church is like that, and if these screens are like that, we should probably be paying a lot of attention. I think we are. We realize like part of this meaning crisis we're having is that it's very confusing to have God be a video screen that's controlled by by forces that we know are not worthy of creating a better reality. They're creating a hologram to get us to do things in their interest. It's not things that are in the interest of people in general. And so we see the world going that way. And I think it all plays into this idea of there's a lower dimensional, just like in the physics or in the church, in the liturgy, where we're building our garment to become more holy. But the content of the screens that we're watching don't seem to be building worthy garments. Or I suppose they can. We just have to be very careful, to be very selective, and to realize that the power of God to act from lower dimensions into higher dimensions is the same power that these screens are generating. And if we don't have some way of sorting out what is on the screens to create the garment that is worthy of God, then what are we doing? What are we doing? So this is my point out, is that this is not a new thing. The church has been using these icons for a long, long time, and the imagery and theology is very often this two-dimensional shroud will create the three-dimensional space, or the higher dimensional space, because are we four dimensions or what? So anyway, that's more for today. I did write a poem last night, so I might as well read it since I seem to want to do that as well. So this is last night. It's called Behold. Behold, I am with you always unto the age, and our Father will send his Spirit to be with all who have opened their hearts to his Son, and in whom, as with him, he is well pleased. Rejoice, you his saints, all made without hands, without incarnation, but with his revelation, like that first icon given to Edessa's king before the Holy Spirit. Behold the face of the Lord. Touch his holy feet and see that the Lord is good. Rejoice, you his Marys, now as created bride. So weave your garment worthy of his creation, of silk and cotton, of wool and cashmere, of crimson and malachite, of purple and gold thread. Enchant it with song in your angelic liturgy. Declare yourself unworthy of him on bended knee. Thanks.